Somewhere on the internet, an AI is still crawling a web page that never ends. It's been at it for weeks, parsing, looping, cataloging the same lines of code again and again. To the algorithm, everything looks normal, and the next answer always seems just one click away. But it's stuck in a digital labyrinth, burning electricity, time, and cloud credits in pursuit of a goal it can never reach. No human will ever see the page it's trapped inside, and the machine will never realize it's already lost. Developers, system administrators, and artists built that trap on purpose. Not to destroy the crawler, but to teach it a little humility. A quiet lesson, written in code, about the difference between access and consent. Welcome to a new kind of digital rebellion. Not against AI itself. Most of these builders use it every day, but against the quiet, relentless harvesting of human creativity that fuels it. Their tools aren't lawsuits or protests. They fight back with clever code, ironic humor, and the kind of mischief that makes servers blush. This is Rise of the Cyberpunk, where the open web fights back, one infinite loop at a time. First came the usual armor, robots.txt, every website's polite "do not disturb" sign outlining the rules for non-humans. Rate limiting, digital speed bumps to throttle data harvesting. CAPTCHA, login bouncers asking you to prove that you're a human, not a toaster. IP blacklists, the online wall of shame for suspicious traffic. But the crawlers adapted. They rotated IPs, faked browsers, and even convincingly mimicked human mouse wiggles to fool most defenses. Fastly and other security platforms rolled out machine learning firewalls to spot the imposters. For a while, it worked. Then, the bots learned the dance steps too. Because if you teach an AI the rules, it will immediately ask how to cheat at them. That's when defenders stopped thinking like engineers and started thinking like artists with a sense of humor. And if you're picturing trench coats and neon skylines, not quite. Today's rebels wear terminal windows and GitHub repos. Less fight the power, more confuse the algorithm and make popcorn. They don't smash the machines, they punk them. In 2025, the community released an AI labyrinth project, open source code that made a web page look perfectly normal until a bot tried to read it. Then it blossomed into an endless hall of mirrors made of HTML. A crawler fell in and kept digging, convinced salvation lay one link deeper. It was part trap, part performance art, and part inside joke. The README file even taunted, "Abandon all hope, ye who parse here." To a human, the site looked fine. To a machine, it was a digital infinity pool, shiny, reflective, and bottomless. Each new click spawned another identical copy, like an algorithmic Groundhog Day. Some crawlers burned through terabytes of bandwidth before anyone noticed they were stuck, racking up real-world cloud bills in the process. It's elegant revenge. Weaponized boredom. The kind every programmer secretly dreams about during status meetings. Soon, others joined. Some pages mutate their structure every time they load, forcing bots to start from scratch. Others plant redirect loops that send scrapers on scenic tours of the internet. A few hide invisible data, fake prices, contradictory reviews, nonsense tags, quietly polluting anything that dares to steal it. And some disguise their content as gibberish until a verified user logs in. Friendly camouflage for humans, digital fog for bots. This wasn't vandalism. It was counter-art, creative resistance, powered by code. The message wasn't, "Get out." It was, "Think twice." A few artists have even explored the concept through digital installations, visual echoes of what it feels like for an AI to lose itself in code. A kind of modern maze built for the ghosts in the machine. As one coder quipped, sometimes the best defense against dirty tricks are dirtier tricks. If the internet was going to be scraped without consent, the least it could do was bite back. In cybersecurity, a honeypot is a decoy, a fake target meant to lure intruders so they can be identified or embarrassed. Now, that same concept protects websites from AI crawlers. Developers hide invisible links that no human would ever click. When an automated bot follows one, it exposes itself instantly. Some servers even feed gibberish back, a polite way of saying, "We noticed you." Elsewhere, decoy files and fake APIs deliver subtly wrong results. A model trained on that tainted data ends up gloriously mistaken, mislabeling, misclassifying, mislearning. It's how you end up with an AI that confidently identifies a banana as a nuclear submarine. It's cybersecurity's version of F around and find out. A quiet dare written right into the code. "Come steal this," it says, "and let's see what happens next." Bots can't tell when something is too easy. They just take the candy, and sometimes it's spicy. And yet, the elegance of a honeypot isn't in the trap itself, it's in the lesson. The bots waste compute, not content. They burn energy chasing ghosts, learning, ironically, that the open web isn't as open as it used to be. Not every defense is a prank. A growing number of designers are exploring human-friendly, bot-hostile principles. Web patterns that welcome people but frustrate automation. Some use progressive disclosure. Content loads as you scroll or interact, invisible to a bulk scraper. Others introduce semantic noise, meaningless text that confuses machine parsers but leaves humans unbothered. And some use time-boxed rendering, where key content appears a second later or shifts slightly with each visit, breaking the rigid expectations of scrapers. Even subtle layout shifts can trip up bots trained to extract meaning from visual consistency. The result? Pages that feel alive to people, but strangely slippery to machines. These aren't walls, they're mirrors, reminding us that security doesn't have to be ugly or authoritarian. It can be playful, adaptive, and even artistic. What began as defense has become philosophy. Call it digital Aikido. Instead of brute force, you redirect the energy of the attack until it wears itself out. Every loop and decoy is a polite boundary written in code. You can look, but you can't take. Traditional cybersecurity focuses on walls, block lists, encryption, firewalls, intrusion detection, hard edges built to repel. Containment is softer, stranger, and in some ways more human. It doesn't deny access outright. It invites the intruder to stay, wander, and waste their time. It's less a castle under siege, more a haunted house where every hallway leads back to the front door. This gray hat frontier sits somewhere between hacking and art. It's not about destruction, but balance. Adding a wink to the line of code that says, "Respect me," or "Regret me." And maybe that's the larger lesson. Consent isn't a checkbox or a legal disclaimer in the footer. It's the new heartbeat of an ethical internet. Defenders aren't trying to end AI, they're trying to teach it manners. It's less about walls, more about mirrors, showing the web what it's become, and asking if that's really what we want. The internet today is a maze of invisible duels, hyperlinks and honeypots, datasets and decoys. AIs crawl outward, searching for knowledge. And yes, calling their human counterparts cyberpunks sounds like a worn cliché ripped straight out of an 80s sci-fi movie. Neon jackets, rain-soaked skylines, the whole aesthetic. But the name fits. They've become digital custodians of consent, standing guard with creativity, code, and just enough sarcasm to make it punk. Every new model learns faster. Every defender learns sneakier. It's a strange co-evolution. Humans teaching machines by lying to them, and machines learning that trust itself can't be trusted. And maybe that's the ultimate irony. Intelligence built on borrowed data will always inherit the suspicion of its creators. Because on today's internet, truth is a weapon, deception is a shield, and irony is apparently the user manual. And don't forget that somewhere out there, an AI crawler is still lost in a loop, examining a page that never ends. A tiny algorithm chasing meaning in circles. It's okay, and even human, to feel a bit of empathy for it, as the bot keeps searching for a way out. After all, it's only doing what we taught it to do. This is AI Security Report. Subscribe, stay aware, and stay ahead of the machines.